Yeah. So one of my questions was going to be about what was it like getting from point A to point B when you heard that there was a question or there was a verdict. But as you said, you were already in the courtroom when that happened. When you weren't in the courtroom, when you were waiting for the jury, where were you? Was there an attorney room where you all were? Or can you kind of talk about the tension of that or what you did?
Well, there was an attorney room, if you want to call it, and it was kind of like a cubby hole. But
Mr. Botts didn't seem too stressed.
No, I felt pretty good about the case. I really did, and and that's what I said to Shaq before that day began. Was I said they'll come back with a verdict today.
Can I tell them where everyone sat in the side room? Mr. Botts had a couch. I'm just going to put it like that. We'll just leave it at that. Mr. Botts had a couch, and Doug. It was funny because Doug is the social media guy, so he's sitting there. Mr. Botts is
resting,
taking a rest throughout the whole process in the side room on the couch, and Doug is just jabbering on with people from across the nation talking about who knows what on something live. And luckily I can work with snoring and talking going on in the background. So I was just working on other cases for those days. And so it was the three of us, and then Shaq and Youssef, who is an intern that works for Mr. Harvey. He came, he wanted to be part of the team and stick with us. So that was awesome. And so it was the three of us, and then Youssef and Shaq. I think that was right. That was it. Yeah.
That was it.
Somebody says, Dee says, domino effect happening. 6 defendant charges dismissed today. You and Doug didn't just help your clients. So many others are winning because of y'all too. How does that feel to read that comment? And can you take responsibility?
I don't even know what whose charges was on this case?
I did see Damone Blaylock's RICO charge was dismissed. I haven't seen the others, but I have not been keeping up in the last couple of hours. Okay. But I did see Thugger Daily report had the paperwork for Damone Blaylock's RICO charge being dismissed. So it sounds like there could be others. Was that expected? Was there any talk about that?
I mean, there was no talk about the other gentlemen. I mean, we were in our own universe. We knew that they were at the jail, except for Mr. Farley. But there was no discussion about anything like that. I mean, the one thing I'll say is people have a lot of problems with RICO, and I get it. We know when RICO kind of came to prominence, it was definitely not this situation that we dealt with in this case. A lot of people have problems with the way it was used. Ultimately, people vote and make decisions and choose, who's going to use. But as attorneys, all we can do is just make it as difficult as possible. If you're gonna bring a RICO, we just gonna fight for every inch, and just make it as because while it gives in some ways gives the state great advantage, we can also, fight tooth and nail, and I think we did that, not just us, but all the attorneys, to make it a lot less palatable that they're going to try these other gentlemen, in a similar way.
Yeah, because one issue I've seen, and at least in this case, is, I mean, the Georgia Criminal Defense Bar and the number of attorneys who could take this case on, especially when you've got 28 defendants, was limited. So, I mean, it's almost like you got your domino effect is kind of helping the fact that maybe there weren't enough attorneys to go around. It's like if you can just eliminate some cases by the lawyering of attorneys in one case, there you go. But do you think you've inspired some a kind of change in the Georgia Defense Bar, or maybe kind of a rekindling of people who want to be defense attorneys in Atlanta?
I don't know. Most of the attorneys that I ran into were just like, it was just expressions of sorrow throughout this process. Like, Max, I'm sorry that you're still in this case. And, I always say, oh, it's not bad. I kind of liked it in many ways. But yeah, I don't think I don't think that necessarily we've inspired a bunch of attorneys that are going to be signing on to do 2+ year cases. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
oh, I see. State filed motions to nolle prosequel. All of the, I'm probably mispronounced that. All the charges for Cleef
no
Adams.
problem.
Oh, okay.
Dismiss.
Damone. Okay, dismiss. Damone Blaylock, Javaris Bradford, Justin Cobb, Javon Fleetwood, and Jaden Myrick. Some of them were charged with murder, weren't they?
Pretty much.
Mr. Bradford was.
Yeah.
Cleef Adams.
No, Cleef Adams was.
Well, he was.
Javaris Bradford was.
Sentence.
And I never really understood what that murder charge was based on. So that's awesome. Mr. Cobb, I don't think he's even. I don't even know where he is or if he's been arrested, but apparently that solves that problem. And then, the other thing that we have these 28 names on this indictment, and the idea that this is a RICO enterprise. And, I understand that under the laws of RICO, everyone doesn't need to know everyone. But in reality, if we're going to hold people accountable for the acts of others, you would think that people would know each other. And just look at the ages and the age range of this. It's like 2 different generations of young men that grew up on Cleveland Avenue. Really, it's almost like 3 different if you get into Antonio Sledge and some of the older guys, Demise McMullen. So it's a lot of these guys really didn't really have anything to do with Shannon Stillwell or Jeffrey Williams or anything. Like Jaden Myrick. He was just a disturbed young man that was in the jail that apparently wanted to make some money, but no one knew who he was.